What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And welcome to another episode of This Freakin' Show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. The same weekly podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Now, if you're just like me and you're a huge fan of stories and history, you're just not a big fan of reading them yourselves, Audible.com is the best place for you. It's the one-stop shop for all audiobooks. If you go to audibletrial.com/freaknet today and sign up, you get a 30-day free trial plus a credit to your first book purchase. It's literally just that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/freaknet today, sign up, get your 30-day free trial and your first credit towards your first book.
Absolutely worth it.
It's so worth it.
Get yourself a book. It's great. I love Audible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joe, and honestly, guys, hey, fun fact for you. Me and Joe are actually recording the show together.
I know. It doesn't happen very often.
You are in Freaknet Studios.
I am. It's nice. It's
Right?
nice. I'm surprised at the depth of the bunker underground here.
Yeah. Right. It's made of aluminum, Joe's. Mm-hmm. The sturdiest of the most breakable fucking metals.
Right. That's why they make cans out of it.
But I mentioned that you're here at my house when we're recording together because you have a long drive to come here.
I do.
It's a little over an hour for you to get here.
Yeah.
And I think you could use that time wisely to listen to audiobooks.
That is true. I actually, in fact, was listening to an audiobook on the way down.
See, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just amazing how life could really help you out. And we're helping you out too just by going to audibletrial.com/freaknet. Guys, I think we're just going to banter a little bit today. We really have nothing planned and set up and everything. There's nothing really new happening. I do want to kind of dive into a couple of the events that have happened in the past week. We're going to do our Freakin' Happened segment as well. And we're going to dive all into that. But I want to tell everyone what we're actually doing today. Because I'm really excited for it. Because I know we mentioned it several times on how we're going to move forward in not only podcasting, but in content that we're releasing. And you guys remember a couple weeks ago, we had Sarge on, who is the host of The Gray Area. He's one of the podcasters that are part of Freaknet Studios. And Sarge is on his way out here today. And myself, Cartoon Joe, and Sarge are going to record and hopefully release our first YouTube video.
That is right. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Now, Joe, this may be the first time Cartoon Joe's on recorded video.
It is. It pretty much is. It pretty much is.
Now,
There are a couple of live videos.
I was gonna say, like, I remember when you went. It was an Indie PopCon or something like that.
Yeah, Indie PopCon or Gen Con, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I know there was some dark video. You guys hanging out, enjoying beverages, if you will.
Yeah. Adult beverages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this may be the first lidded view of who you are.
That is true. And I'm drinking. Well, it is an adult beverage, but it's not an alcoholic adult.
That
beverage.
is a huge fucking cup.
It is a huge cup of coffee from Circle K. Shout out to Circle K. Please send us money.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to compete with the big gulp soda from 7-Eleven.
They are, but
right.
Coffee instead.
Yeah, it's like hey, maybe 12 ounces isn't enough. Let's go ahead and give you what's that like? Maybe
24.
Like, yeah, god damn.
Yeah, it's 24. It's an extra large.
They really want to get rid of that coffee in the morning.
They really do. They've got I've never seen. Sorry, this is completely irrelevant to anyone's lives, but I've never seen coffee the way that they serve it over there. Normally, you walk into a gas station, they have those like diner carafes that you pour. The way that they've got it set up, it's a machine that has the beans on top, and it like grinds them and then brews your coffee, almost like a eco-friendly Keurig. Is how I'd almost describe it.
So it instantly, like it's not sitting there because like I've seen those gas stations that like they have the big containers that they just kind of just fill in.
Yeah.
So around 11 o'clock, you're getting 5 a.m. coffee.
Right. No, this is it's got fresh beans up top. It I assume it grinds them right away and then it brews it right into your cup.
Man.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. I stood there. I was 5 minutes late getting over here because I was trying to figure out where the hell the coffee was because it didn't look like a coffee machine to me.
Oh god. No, and I haven't drank coffee in a while, and I really need to get back into it because I'm a purely straight black coffee guy. Once in a while, like I'll throw some was it Equal or Equa, whatever the fuck that
whatever
imitation sugar is, and some half and half. If I want to get a little bit flavor, but usually I'm a straight black coffee guy. Helps keep you regular.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
it gives you that boost of energy you really need for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I moved in and you gave me Death Wish coffee.
Oh, yeah.
That shit will wake you up.
It will wake you up. And if you drink it like it's your normal cup of coffee, it'll give you the shakes.
Yeah. But you guys actually have a sponsor by a new coffee company now over in Geekcast Live, right?
We are, yeah. I believe we are. It's not Ready Player One. That's a book and a movie. Player One Coffee is the name of it. Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. Now, is that a Keurig cup kind of coffee? Because Death Wish, the ones you gave me, they were Keurig cups.
Yeah. Death Wish
cups,
does produce K-Cups. I don't think that Player One does, no. Yeah.
Maybe we talk about Player One enough here. Maybe they'll sponsor this show.
Maybe.
Right? I just want people to give me shit.
Right?
That's all I want.
Preferably.
Money.
Speaking of which, if you head over to tpublic.com and you search TFS, you can get some sweet-ass merch.
Yeah. My merchandise is going to be delivered today. I'm so excited. Actually, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet. Sale is going on now. The show is released on the 22nd. Sale ends on the 23rd. So you guys still got at least a day, if you listen to this in time, to pick up your merchandise. But I shared it on social media. They know. I'm not sure if you had a chance to check it out, though, but there is a new Travis t-shirt.
I saw your new Travis t-shirt. It
what
looks
do you think?
really good. I'm really excited by it.
When I made it just for the hell of it, I'm like, this is pretentious as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what Jay was telling me. He's like, dude, you got to put that out and everything. You got to wear it. I'm like, I'm not going to be the kind of person that's going to wear my own face on my own shirt. I just won't do it.
I've got a shirt at home I almost wore today that looks like it has my face on it, but it doesn't.
But there's a legit Cartoon Joe shirt out there, too.
There is a legit Cartoon Joe shirt out there.
There is a cartoony Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you know what? You could get that on a pillow.
You can.
You can also get the Travis T on a pillow.
That's true. Snuggle up to Travis T.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is the frame I put around it. The fact that it looks like a portrait. I love about it. It's not just me. And the thing is, like, when I was looking at it, and I showed my mom the picture, the shirt and everything, and she's like, you look so big on the shirt. I'm like, first off, I am. And second off, I thought I lost weight. But then I remembered that the picture I used was actually taken in a photo shoot we did for my mom's 50th birthday.
Yeah. That was a while ago.
I'm...
Sorry, Mom. What I mean is the photo was taken a long time ago. I don't mean that it's been a long time since your mom's 50th birthday.
Oh, God. Thank God she'll listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
She can't. She'll support the podcast and everything. I mean, without Mom, I wouldn't have this awesome computer.
Right? Yeah.
I wouldn't have the webcam to shoot the films and everything. And I even told her, I'm like, listen, if you just, go to Audible, sign up for Patreon. She's like, here's just a check. Just don't piss it away. I'm like, hell no. Now, it's really hard not to buy Funko Pops with it. Because I think you see,
they look great.
I have a wall of Funko Pops. I got about 5 more coming next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. But, no, I was like, because I wanted to get a Travis T shirt. And I had the one, and it just says the original Freak Travis T. But I needed more. Yeah. I mean, we had the Cartoon Joe shirt. We got the Dizzle J. Dizzle J has a new shirt out there. The new co-host of Just Freakin' Wrestling, Dally's going to have her shirt out. I'm going to show you that when we're done here.
Oh, yeah.
I am really, really happy with her shirt. Because I put a lot of work into that thing.
Nice.
But guys, like Cartoon Joe said, go to tpublic.com, TEEPUBLIC.com, search TFS, and see all the merchandise there. I am going to update the This Freakin' Show logo t-shirt to make it a little more color-friendly. That's the one thing, and no disrespect to TeePublic if you happen to hear this and everything when I say this, but the one thing that sucks about it is basically it's just a picture you upload and they put it onto onto a color. It doesn't, or onto a t-shirt. It doesn't matter what the color t-shirt. It doesn't alter the color of the font.
Oh, gotcha.
So when you get like a black logo,
right,
you can't put on a black t-shirt because it doesn't turn white. You have to actually have a white font.
Yeah,
and all that. So a buddy of mine, Logan, who shout out to Logan if you listen to the shows and everything. I know you've been a huge supporter of the podcast, buying sweatshirts and t-shirts and stuff like that. So really appreciate that. He bought the Secret Society logo shirt.
Oh, but on a black shirt.
Yeah, he got it on a heather gray sweatshirt, so it showed up.
Yeah. He
thought the logo font would change, and clearly it didn't.
Right.
So it's like that happened, but I'm going to redo it so he can once again purchase it. I'm not going to replace it. That's not on me.
Right.
Guys, go to tpublic.com, just like Cartoon Joe said, tpublic.com/TFS. Joe, we're going to go ahead and do That Freakin' Happened. If you're okay with it, I'd like to go first.
Yo, please go first.
Excellent. And we talked about this in the car a little bit ago, but there's a lot of stuff that happened this week. A lot of depressing shit.
It is a sad week in history.
Yeah, so my choice was from February 19th, 1807. Former Vice President Aaron Burr is arrested for treason against the U.S. He had organized an armed militia of about 60 men. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but 60 men, 1807.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Yeah. Right.
The exact purpose of which has never been determined. President Thomas Jefferson ordered his arrest. Burr has served as vice president under Jefferson. He was accused of trying to create an independent country in the center of North America, including the southwestern United States and parts of Mexico. Burr claims he was trying to farm 40,000 acres in the Texas territory that had been leased to him by the Spanish crown. He had organized an armed militia of about 60 men. Historians still debate Burr's true intention. He was eventually acquitted. Go to show, even back in 1807, you get accused of something, quit the shit out of it.
Yep. Well, the trick is to have enough money to never get in trouble.
Yeah, right.
Right. Or never stay in trouble. That's actually the key, is to never stay in trouble.
2 big words. Prove it. Prove it. What do you got, Joe?
Well, I was going to do 55 years ago this week, Malcolm X was assassinated.
Yeah. I saw that was one of the topics that kind of came up.
Yeah, which is interesting, and what's really surprising about it to me is I guess we still don't know who did it, allegedly, which is really interesting. What's interesting to me about it is with like Martin Luther King Jr., the CIA has admitted it. They released documents saying, yeah, we did that, but with Malcolm X, they still haven't admitted it, which. That makes me think that maybe they didn't do it, which is shocking to me. Yeah. Maybe the FBI did it. I don't know, but it's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and it's curious how these big names when they get murdered, as sometimes it goes unsolved.
Right.
I mean, look at O.J. Simpson's wife. They still don't know who did it.
Right. Yeah. Who did that?
Yeah. Right.
Hey, the glove don't fit.
That's right. Right. Jack the Ripper is still,
right.
Never found out who that guy was. The Zodiac Killer.
Right.
Still a mystery.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's serving as a senator from Texas, but. No, I'm kidding. But so anyway, I hopped on just to double check my facts, and it popped up this day back in 1964 was the Miracle on Ice when the U.S. hockey team beat the Soviet hockey team at the Winter Olympics.
I guess that's a positive.
That was one positive thing. Yeah.
They made a Disney movie out of that, right?
They did. Yeah.
I wonder if it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, I bet it is.
That place is a fucking rabbit hole, man.
Oh my God. Yeah.
When I first turned it on, I'm watching it, and first off, if you don't have Disney Plus, you need to fucking get it. Because there's so many cool things on there, but at the same time, I'm kind of bummed out on the shit that's not there.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I know Rescuers is on there, but I don't see Rescuers Down Under.
Really?
Yeah. And then, even my sister was telling me, the sequel to Brave Little Toaster is on there, but Brave Little Toaster isn't.
Really?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's very, hit and miss on, what's on there, what's not, because it's like even Sherry was saying, is Disney didn't own this, that, and the other thing at the time.
Oh, right.
But I'm like, the fucking National Geographic's on there.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, which is really weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and the crazy thing to me is there's so much content.
Yeah.
It's like you could search it for days. I feel like it's like the Vatican Museum, where if you looked at every piece for 1 second, it'd take 12 years. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about Disney Plus.
Oh yeah. Now I'm a little disappointed in their skip intro, because you don't skip the whole intro. You still get the last 3 or 5 seconds of the intro. Not a huge fan of that.
Gotcha.
Don't like it. But I'm sucked into Boy Meets World right now. I'm a huge fan of Boy Meets World. I'm so happy it's on there. The only negative towards Boy Meets World is that as I watch Corey and Topanga go through their life, it makes me realize how alone I am. Oh. Right? Because I wanted Topanga.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And also, fun fact, if you guys didn't know, Corey Matthews, who is Ben Savage, is the brother of Fred Savage, who played Kevin Arnold on The Wonder Years.
Huh.
And The Wonder Years ended the same year Boy Meets World started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Fred Savage is also the little kid from Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Travis's favorite movie of all time.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Once Upon a Deadpool and they did the whole beginning scene with Fred Savage, I completely forgot that was part of The Princess Bride. Like, I was watching, I was like, this is kind of goofy. And I'm like, I know I've seen this somewhere. But the fact they got Fred Savage to do it again is fucking phenomenal.
I know, it's great.
But then, I also was thinking about a little bit more, like, when I was watching Boy Meets World, and I was like, okay, Corey and Topanga, Ben Savage, Fred Savage, Wonder Years. It bummed me out that Kevin Arnold didn't end up with Winnie Cooper at the end of Wonder Years. And it made me think, like, how the fuck does Fred get Savage, who is better looking than Ben Savage? I'll say it. It's the curly hair. Not a fan. Look at Houston. How did he not end up with Winnie Cooper and be okay with it?
Right. I don't know.
But no, I love Disney Plus. I'm a huge fan of sitting there, like, because I started watching Smart Guy, so I watched a little bit of that. And then I was like, I want to watch Girl Meets World again. Because it is a good show. It doesn't dive into like some of the serious shit that people really deal with in reality because obviously it came on like 2015, 16, 17, and
right.
18, all that.
We're escaping reality.
Yeah. There's no after school specials anymore.
Right.
Everything always works itself out.
Yep.
But I mean, when you get the Boy Meets World and like Sean's drinking or his mom leaves, people are actually dying, getting hurt and stuff like that. I mean, fucking Saved by the Bell did the same thing.
I know. Yeah.
But could you make an argument that maybe the television we watch today is preparing kids for real life? There's got to be a sense of that, right?
Yeah, I think there's some of that. I also think that I think television's trying to prepare kids for different parts of real life now. Rather than dealing with real life situations in terms of like what's going on, I think it's trying to prepare people for like interpersonal relationships. Okay. Like I think you can learn about how to be a good friend better today than you could.
I'm glad you bring up interpersonal relationships. I want to ask you a question that actually got brought up to me at when I was out drinking last night with a buddy of mine, and I don't know if he listens to this show, so I hope you do, because you probably don't remember this conversation at all. But we had a good night. Everything was fine. We were chit chatting and everything, and then he went and talked to some buddies of his. He came back and he was a little more,
overserved.
Yeah, at that point. So he starts talking to me about communication and personal communication to social communication, something like that, or intrapersonal, interpersonal.
Sure.
Now he believes that they're both linked. That personal communication and social communication are one and the same. It's he's
like how you talk to yourself reflects how you talk to others.
Yeah,
or vice versa.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, and he called it like as a spider web or something like that. And I think he was more focused on like a chain reaction thing because how you speak to you is how you speak to your family, how you speak to your friends, and blah, blah, blah. I completely disagree. I believe that they're two completely different things. Like you're able to have a personal communication with yourself that does not reflect your outlook or social communication to others. And I kind of want to get your view on it because you're college educated. You're a lot smarter than I am. We all know that. Everyone on this fucking viewers know that. So where do you find the line on personal communication over social communication, or is there even a line at all? Is there a blending of it, or is it completely separated? Because the way I was trying to explain to him, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get this off right, because obviously when I drink, I'm more coherent than I am when I'm sober. What I say to me, how I talk to me, and how I communicate within myself does not reflect other people. It doesn't reflect onto other people. Because I have the choice to determine what other people hear or know,
right,
compared to what I know about myself.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't feel that way. He feels that there's a reaction to your actions. And I want to get your perspective and your views on that.
Yeah. I think it's possible, for that to be the case. I also think it's possible for people to sort of hide their real selves by when they're talking to others.
Yeah.
Or present different facets of themselves as they're talking to people. Because who I am on the show here is very different from who I am on the show with Geekcast Live, is very different from who I am when I'm like in a pulpit on Sunday morning. And I don't think necessarily that any of those generally reflects my own self-talk, how I talk to myself about things. On the other hand, I also think that, if you're a well-integrated person, the way you talk to others is going to reflect how you see yourself. I do think that there's something about, maybe, if you're really down on yourself, I could see how you might be more reactionary in some ways. But I also think that in other ways, you might not be. It really depends on so many factors. There's so many different things. People are so different from each other. Mm-hmm. Some people, I think, do, become much more reactive and angry when they hate themselves. Other people hate themselves and become much more friendly and much more serving to others because they want to treat other people the way that they wish they could treat themselves.
Yeah, and we actually talked about that a little bit too, because when we were talking, obviously, we didn't have the same perspective. I disagreed. It's like, and I disagreed with what he was saying. Now, I flat out told him, "You're not wrong. I just don't agree because we have different perspectives."
Right.
Now, clearly, he wasn't happy with that. I mean, he got pissed. He finished his drink. He cashed out. He was fucking like, "I'm out of here." I'm like, "Hey, whatever, man.
Right.
You're entitled to leave anytime you want. You're entitled to do whatever you want. But I just want you to know and you to understand. I'm not saying you're right, and I'm not saying I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right because you're wrong. Right. I'm just saying you have a view, and I respect that. I have a view, and you need to respect that."
Right.
Well, he just said I'm just trolling him, which I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do that. It's fun for me.
Yeah.
People will wander off and do some shit. I'll stay to myself. They'll come back. They'll start talking. I'm like, "Oh shit, you left," or they'll talk. I'm looking right at them, and I just say, "What?"
Right.
Like I'm not listening to them. Yeah, I joke around with a lot of people. We can call that trolling. I'm okay with that. But when I'm sitting there trying to have a conversation with him, and I'm telling him how, I don't agree with what you're saying, but it doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just your perspective on it.
Right.
He thinks it's trolling, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's
no,
not.
Trolling to me would be like, why are you getting so mad? Are you mad at yourself? Why are you mad at me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I think in his state of mind, he thought that I was just looking to piss him off. Which I get it. I know who I am. I do it a lot. Yes, it's fun to me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But in that case, when I was sitting there talking to him, because he was going through some stuff that he wasn't happy with, and there was something that happened earlier in the day where he's just like, "Hey, it happened, fuck it." But when you drink, you become
whatever's the top of the mind is
yeah, and that's what I told him. Like, dude, if you're more pissed off, that's fine, but don't get mad at me just because I have an opinion of how I perceive things.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't sit there and I don't believe that how I speak to myself is going to determine how I speak to other people.
Right.
Now, and it's very similar to what you're saying, but not as much. I'm the same person on the podcast, in real life, with relationships, at work. It's just all how it's amplified.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like I was talking to him, and I was telling him, like, listen, I'm not sitting here just fucking with you. I'm being completely honest with you. It's okay to be, different and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then, he apologized a little bit. He's like, well, you calmed me down and everything. He's like, well, obviously I really didn't calm me down. Because clearly you're not calmed down.
Right.
But then he was just talking about drinking. He was saying how drinking kind of numbs your feelings on shit and everything. Mm. And I told him, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to piss you off because I also disagree with you.
Right, yeah.
He's like, no, man, you understand, when you're drinking and everything, you just kind of numb your feelings of one thing and you just start thinking about something else. I'm like, and I disagree. I actually honestly believe that alcohol amplifies your feelings. And it does for me. I mean, if depending on how much I drink or what I drink, if I'm sad, I get sadder. If I'm mad, I get madder. If I'm happy, I get happier.
Right.
It amplifies that feeling that you have. And he completely disagrees with that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on drinking and the emotions that you feel?
Yeah. For me personally,
isn't it weird that this kind of sounds like an interview thing?
It does kind of sound like an interview. For me personally, I'm kind of the same way with you. Like what I drink affects me differently. Mm-hmm. Like whiskey makes me want to look for a fight. I don't necessarily want to actually fight, but it's like, let's go fight. Like, come on. Yeah. But it for me, I have an anxiety disorder. So when I drink, it dampens my anxiety, which can make me less angry. Because that's usually when I'm really anxious, I get really angry. Because it's the easiest way for me to deal with the emotion. But I would say that, generally speaking, I don't find myself dampened by booze. I find myself amplified by booze. Yeah, I'm the same way as you.
Yeah, I think it's just how people perceive how their lives are when they're doing certain activities like drinking and shit like that. And sometimes it's involuntary. Sometimes you have the ability to control it.
Right.
And I think there's some truth when people say it's liquid courage. You're out there and sometimes you to keep your mouth shut and okay, well I'm gonna keep it to myself because it's no one else is going to agree with it. But when you start drinking, you start thinking about it more and more. And you're like, no, I'm just tired of hearing this what the fucker says.
Right.
Like, no, the sky's not fucking blue. It's sky blue. That's why it's
Right.
called sky blue and shit like that. And it's a completely irrelevant argument, but when you drink, you just want your opinion
Right.
to get
Yeah.
across.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, the grass isn't green. It's grass green. It's like,
Right.
whatever. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
because we live in a Crayola kind of fucking
Right.
world.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, you know, part of growing up is figuring out what booze does to you and then learning how to use it appropriately.
Absolutely. That's why, like, when I go on a drink and I drink rum, I limit myself on rum.
Yeah.
You testing your pulse?
Yeah, I felt a little thing in my chest from the coffee.
Are you dying?
No.
Don't die in my house. I'll drag you into the street. Like, oh no, Coach, you're
Like
doing a
Disney
heart attack
World
on the
and
sidewalk.
ambulances.
Yeah. Did you hear the price of Disney went up? It's like $200 a ticket or some shit like that.
God. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw it in the news and shit.
Jesus.
Right? I don't know what's worse, that or fucking Robert
Sherry.
Blagojevich got out.
I know, right? Yeah, Sherry's gonna have to mortgage her house.
They probably already did. They already got property down there, fucking everything. But no, it's like when it comes to rum and everything, like rum makes me more sad.
Right.
It makes me think that like everything I'm doing in my life is wrong.
Sure.
I'm fun when I do tequila.
Yeah.
I don't drink bourbon and whiskey because like there's a certain point where that just is like Red Stag I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
Love Red Stag. Water it down and shit just like Uncle Paul. But I'm not a big whiskey guy unless it's Honey Jack. I'll do some shots of that.
Mm-hmm.
But more normally I stick to vodka, and I'm still trying to figure out vodka because after my birthday, I don't know what fucking vodka does.
Vodka
to me.
doesn't do any. Vodka makes me like nothing. It's like drinking water to me.
I don't know because
Doesn't do anything.
I mean, I drank a shit ton of vodka on my birthday, and I went from kissing my friend's fiance to trying to sell fucking Audible
Oh my goodness.
advertisement to fucking my
yeah.
friends to sign up for Audible, to blubbering on the back deck about how I'm a horrible dog owner. So I'm still trying to, I guess, find that median.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's really how people like pick their topics and shit. Because I know there was a moment where I spent about 15 minutes talking about relationships and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I don't talk about relationships unless I'm fucking drinking.
Yeah. I
But
feel that. Yeah, beer makes me friendly and chatty. Well, light beer, you know. But if I have like a stout or a porter, that makes me sleepy. Wine makes me let's say more passionate, I guess. You know, more intense. Whiskey makes me more intense. Whiskey gives me confidence, man. Whiskey makes me like feel like myself.
you feel like a cowboy?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right?
Yeah.
Barkeep, give me another one.
Right.
I get you.
Yeah. Rum. I haven't had a good rum drunk in a long time because the last time I got really and truly rum drunk, I drank about a fifth of Captain Morgan on my own, and proceeded to have the worst blackout I've ever had.
I want to do this. Because I think this might be funny. It might be fun to do here.
Yeah.
Only if you're capable of doing it.
Sure.
I'm going to give you a liquor.
Yeah.
I want you to compare your character to an actor or a famous person.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'll try.
Whiskey makes you more like who?
Whiskey makes I want to say John Wayne off the top of my head.
John Wayne?
Makes me feel like John
Right?
Wayne. Yeah.
Right, because the fucking cowboy,
Right.
man. I was gonna think maybe Clint Eastwood.
Right. Yeah.
Right. What about rum? What would rum do to Cartoon Joe?
Not Johnny Depp, but Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
Like legit sex?
Yeah, like why is the rum gone?
Tequila. How about that?
Tequila. Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, it makes me just kind of dumb, but not like dumb, like smart dumb. You know.
How about Malort?
Malort makes me.
Can you imagine getting Malort drunk?
Oh God, that's what I'm trying to like.
You know what Malort makes me?
What's
Like the
Malort
Elephant
make you?
Man.
Like the who?
Like the Elephant Man.
The Elephant Man. Yeah. Yeah, it makes me like Adrian Brody in The Machinist.
I feel like the monster in Goonies.
Right. Hey, you guys! Oh, boy.
God. Cheers to booze.
Yeah.
Thank you for being you.
Hey, it's Saturday. Have one.
Joe, tell me your view on fucking Roddy being released from prison.
I don't have one.
No.
I don't feel that strongly about it one way
Do
or
you
the
feel
other.
it's that big of a deal?
No.
Right?
No, I don't.
Dude's in prison for 8 years. What did he do? He tried to sell the Senate
He tried to
seat?
sell a Senate seat. I think it's a bummer that we're, like, normalizing corruption, but, like, I just don't care.
Right.
I just don't.
Should it really be that impactful in our news for that to happen?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. And maybe I just don't have all the information. Maybe it should be way more impactful. But I just don't, I didn't think it was that big of a deal when he went down in the first place.
Mm.
I don't think it's that big of a deal now.
Yeah.
And, he was on Anderson Cooper last night talking about how it's given him a view of the criminal justice system that's going to help him push for criminal justice reform. So that seems like a good thing to me. Because I think that's a really important thing in our society, and I think it's a really important thing going forward that we need to deal with. But, like, I just don't care.
Well, I want to talk about this for a little bit, if you want to.
Sure.
You spent some time, not in prison, but at a prison.
With prisoners.
Yeah,
with inmates.
Yeah, talk about what you did, and how do you feel about the system and everything? Because I don't know, where were you, like in a lunchroom or...
So they actually have classrooms down at Stateville. So briefly during seminary, I took some classes down at Stateville Correctional Facility. I think that's the name of it, Correctional Center or something like that.
Yeah, Statesville Prison.
Yeah, down in Clarksville, Romeoville, whatever you want to call it. Crest Hill.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
Clarksville.
I don't know where that came from at all. Crest Hill, because Crest Hill sounds like Clarksville. No, I'm kidding. Crest Hill. Jesus Christ. I'm done. Anyway, we went down. They've got for inmates who are reformed, or generally reformed, but are lifers, by and large. They have some great educational opportunities. And my seminary, North Park Theological Seminary, started a center down there to help some of those guys get basically seminary educations, master's degrees. So that they could be educated, they could start working, to use their reformed selves to help other prisoners, other inmates, reform, basically. And it's a great program. Every guy I met there, some of them are honestly, they're in there unjustly. Some of them are in there and they will admit to you that they deserve to be in there. But they also will admit that it's, they made a mistake. It was the worst mistake of their life. They terribly regret it. And they're good guys, and most of them, there's generally speaking, there's an age at which you sort of age out of criminal behavior. You hit it's usually the mid 30s. You're just not as prone to behaving to like murdering somebody in the heat of passion, and so they're past it. They're over it. They're older. They're in their 40s and 50s. There's one guy who was in there who was in his 70s, and they're just regular people. And they, I actually, like, in terms of growing up, I have a lot in common with them. If I had grown up in Chicago, if I had been black, I think there's a serious possibility I could have been one of them. Just because of the system that they grew up in and the community they grew up in and the time that they grew up in. It's just, the realities of the world that we live in. Poverty tends to create criminal behavior. And that's half because we criminalize poverty, and half because when you're thinking about where your next meal is going to come from, you're not thinking about where you're going to live in a year. Yep. So stealing bread doesn't matter so much. Killing a guy who insulted your mom doesn't matter so much, because who cares? You'll probably be dead next week, So yeah, I think the system really, really needs reform. I do think that there are a lot of prisons that don't seek to reform people. They just seek to incarcerate them. And I think that's the biggest problem is it's a different form of state-sanctioned slavery, regardless of skin color. I mean, that's one of the things in the 13th Amendment when it freed the slaves. I put that in quotes. It created a provision which you could arrest people and make them slaves. And there are places in the country. Angola prison, for example, used to be a used to be a plantation. And they literally, like 90% of the guys who are there now, their grandparents worked the fields. as slaves
Oh, wow.
150 years ago. Great grandparents, I should say at this point. But yeah, it's really interesting, and it's a really complicated thing because you don't want violent criminals on the street. You don't want people who just you don't want like your serial killers. You got to find a place to put them. You don't want your pedophiles to be out on the streets. So there is something to keeping dangerous people away from society. But I do think that a lot of people, they're not dangerous anymore. And so there's not really a good reason to keep them locked up at the price that we're paying. We're paying $30,000 a bed a year for some of these guys. And especially the private industrial complex, we're wasting so much money to make profits for people who pay police officers to arrest people, basically. Yeah. It's totally fucked up, and it really bugs me. I don't know. Do you have specific questions? That's my off the top of the head.
I just want to know your views on being inside. Like, how did the environment look?
Gotcha.
More so like the amenities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if you saw a lot of it. Like, if you went from like doorway to doorway without seeing anything, but like, do you feel like, because we know Statesville is an older prison. It's been around for a few decades, so it's not updated and modern. But I mean, really, is any prison nowadays? Like, I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't
know when the last time a real prison was built.
Yeah.
But we know it ain't the Joliet prison.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But how did it look inside? Like,
yeah. So when you first arrive on the grounds, it actually the building that you walk in, and there's a little holding area that looks almost like a dentist office or like the DMV. And you go in, you give them your ID, they sign you in or whatever. And then you have to they have to check your shoes, check your pockets, make sure you're not sneaking anything into the prison that you're not supposed to. And then you walk into a building that, honest to God, looks exactly like the high school I went to. And it's the main administrative building of the prison. Mm-hmm. I mean, it even, I swear, it looks, from the windows to the architecture to the way the floors are, I felt like I was back in high school walking through that building. And then after you leave that building, you enter in to the prison proper, and the grounds are actually pretty beautiful. Like shockingly nice. But the residents, as we were told to call them, of the prison aren't allowed on them. They're only allowed in the yards that are caged, fenced in. But it was a pretty grim. It felt like an inner city public high school for the most part. I will say the areas that we got to see, the classrooms and things, were basically just cinder block rooms. Yeah. And they were not heated. And they were, during the winter, it was cold. It was cold in there. And talking to some of the guys who I trust, they talk about their cells. They won a court case against the prison for their cells being leaky, filled with cockroaches. So I don't know. They're not great. I don't think they're probably marginally better than living on the streets, but worse than living in a cheap apartment. Yeah, and I know like there's a lot of people like, and I'm not naming names because I don't know personal people who say shit like this, but you hear a lot of people say like, well, they're it's good enough for them because they're criminals, right? But that's not true at all. They're still human beings, right? That's how I feel. You still gotta respect people, and like, if they did what they did, and you murder someone, or you go. Like, even like what they consider blue collar crimes, like embezzlement and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes, if you commit a crime, you need to be put in prison. Right. You need to, oh God, what the fuck is the word? There's a phrase I can't fucking think of right now. Got to pay your debt to society. Yeah, pay your debts. Yeah. But you should still be in livable kind of amenities and stuff like that. Now just a quick question, what's your thoughts on death penalty? I'm opposed to the death penalty in like 99.9% of cases. Okay, I believe when it comes to serial killers and stuff like that, I 100% agree. I'm not a big fan of like, there are times where people are put on death row and all of a sudden they find out that they're innocent. Right. Yeah, that's my biggest problem. Is there are a lot of people who've been executed who are innocent. I call Sarge just creeping in. I know, right? I was trying to figure out how the hell the dog opened the door.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to me, it's the question of what is the purpose of incarceration? Is it to just warehouse people who have done wrong, or is it to reform them? And if it's to reform them, then we're not doing it right. You know, by and large, for the vast majority of people who are incarcerated, we're not doing it to make them better people. We're doing it because we just want to warehouse bodies. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those processes. Yeah, go grab a chair, man. Sit down.
Sweet.
God damn it.
Yes.
No, I do believe like the prison system does need to kind of like improve itself, and I liked how you went in and you had a classroom environment for them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it's a luxury to some,
right.
Maybe not to all. Now, when you're talking about like them reforming themselves and like bettering themselves, admitting what they did was wrong and everything, give them the opportunity to better themselves in a prison to where if eventually they can't get out for a certain crime, absolutely. Yeah. Committing first-degree murder or whatever, involuntary, whatever manslaughter, anything like that. Yeah. If you know only if you did without any remorse, I don't believe you're entitled to things like that. Yeah. If there's 100% proof that you legit did it and stuff like that, I do believe there should be a death penalty for that. I don't understand the whole concept of it costs more to kill somebody than it is to keep them alive for life. Yeah. That escapes my thought.
I don't totally understand that either.
Yeah. But I do believe that there should be a death penalty for circumstances that are excessive, like serial killers, like Gacy and Bundy. I get it, If I'm sure if Dahmer didn't get killed in prison, I'm sure he would have been on death row, and he would. Those I understand. Right. But like somebody who, I don't know how to fucking describe it. Yeah. Ends up like let's just say hypothetically kills their parents, and shit like that because they had a mental break, but you can't prove that they're insane. Yeah. And stuff like that. Put them in prison if they could get themselves help and get justice and stuff like that. Figure out, how much time he needs to be rehabilitated, and then you can release him again. Yeah. I mean, it's a system that works, but we're just not doing it right.
Right. That's how I feel about it too. Yeah.
Hey, Sarge.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, God.
How far are you guys into?
We're about done.
Yeah, we're wrapping up here in a little bit. We're just telling them that we're going to do our hot sauces today.
Yeah, hot sauces.
You bring your hot sauces?
I gave you Cholula, so I'm expecting you didn't go.
Yeah, but that's mine.
Yes, but I brought mine.
That's my hot sauce.
I know, so is your American hot sauces that you're
Those are also mine.
Yes. And I brought the Valentina and the Tapatio.
Ooh. Yeah, did you get my Snapchat, by the way, about Tapatio?
I did not.
Oh, perfect. Let me talk about this for a second. So, I was going on Google yesterday, and I was just kind of looking up shit on because we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do this challenge. Mm-hmm. We're still trying to figure out the way to fucking do this to where it's fair and fun, and it's just a good time. So, I'm trying to find the best things we're doing with fucking... Now, I think we agreed on the food we're going to use. Mm-hmm. But just for the hell of it, I'm like, let me see what hot sauce is supposed to go with what. And then, it shows like Valentino's good on pizza. It's good on tacos and stuff like that. If you go for Cholula, it's good on burritos. Tapatio's good on breakfast foods like omelets and hash browns and stuff like that.
Rancheros.
Now, the whole concept of our challenge here is American hot sauces versus Mexican hot sauces. Tapatio is made in California.
I see what you're saying.
Where the population is, 75%.
It's California, man.
Well, still, we are a melting pot of society. So
it is California, man.
Look up the CEO of Tapatio. It's going to be some
Your
Hispanic.
Mexican hot sauce is made in California, man.
Okay, and Corona is bottled in Chicago. It doesn't mean it's not a Hispanic beer.
Now it is. Now it's no longer a Mexican beer.
I'm pretty sure it's a Chinese beer now.
There we go.
What are you guys talking about with this prison? Are you guys talking about like prisoners and stuff? That was like my major in college. And stuff.
Oh no!
No, we were.
I have no idea how we got there.
We were talking earlier about interpersonal and interpersonal communication, and we were talking about we got on this topic of like living conditions and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. You'll have to go back and listen to this show.
Yeah,
but,
right.
No, it's just because I don't know. Somehow we started off with personal communications and ended up with death penalty.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we got on to Rod Blagojevich.
Yes.
And then from him to the yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he deserves to die, but
No,
I know. Obviously.
No, we were. Because that's right. Because he was on the show.
He was on Anderson Cooper last night talking about how now that he's been on the inside, he sees the need for criminal justice reform. And to be honest with you, if he feels that way, great. Whatever, let him do it. But
he wasn't at Rikers. It's
Right.
not like he was. He
was at Club Med, right?
there it is.
Right. They did have his wine in
Right.
stock.
Yeah. Oh no, he had to drink freaking box wine.
Right? No, all he
Franzia.
had,
That's
he had
what it's called.
smart water. They didn't have Voss. That's the problem.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he's over there acting like he's
Let me
drinking
tell you
Flint.
something. If I had to drink Dasani instead of something like Ice Mountain, that would really be punishment.
Right? He had to suffer with tap water.
Right.
God.
Right.
Well, let me ask you, Alan. Sarge. Fucking God. Weird. First time I did that. Let me ask you, Sarge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you feel that with Blagojevich being released, it's as big as an issue as everyone's making it out to be?
No, I just think because he was pardoned by Trump, that's the problem. If Trump wanted to pardon him in 2016, he could have done it.
Yeah.
But
he was in prison for 8 years. And and I don't know much about it. You probably know more about the story than I do. He was just trying to sell the Senate seat after Obama got elected.
Yeah,
Is there more to it, or is that basically the gist of the whole thing?
He was literally trying, like you said, trying to sell. He said, if someone's going to sit in that seat, I'm going to be compensated for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the governor of Illinois was on the receiving end of that phone call saying, I'd like it. I'd want it. I would take it. And now he's the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. Nobody wants to talk about that part.
The toilet guy?
The toilet guy. That's a good way to put it.
I think after 8 years,
Yeah,
I think it's long enough. Obviously he can't be governor again. He's not going to be any kind of politician in the future. His career's for the most part ruined.
Oh, it's done.
It's over.
I think 8 years is long enough.
8 years is plenty of time. And just like with the whole Roger Stone thing with Trump, Trump's like, it's excessive. And that thing was just a setup to make, honestly, it was. This is going to sound conspiracy theory-ish, but it was a setup to make Trump and Barr look like complete assholes. Because they set it up like, 9 years, Roger Stone, for this, or witness tampering, or blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, that's way too much. William Barr's like, that's way too much. And the prosecutors on that case all walked out knowing that there was going to be a problem with the sentence that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they went over the top knowing that 9 years was way too much, they knew Barr was going to react to it, and they knew that Trump was going to react to it. So they're like, you know what? You're manipulating the system. This is an abuse of power again. We're just going to walk. And Trump's like, I'm not saying abuse of power. He's not saying abuse of power. We're just saying that's way too fucking much for what he did. And now it depends on what side of the aisle you're on, but if you pay attention to multiple media sources, you'll see one side saying he's abusing power again. This is an impeachable offense. He's interceding where he shouldn't intercede. Trump's like, no, I think he should go to jail. 9 years is too much. That's all.
I think the long story short, they need to bring back after school specials.
That is the key takeaway.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? If we had more Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell with real life situations in it.
Give me an episode where someone tries to steal an election by working with a foreign government.
Right? Let me see some real shit instead of like no matter what at the end of the episode everything works itself out.
Sure.
That's the real problem. People are like, it's okay when I wake up in the morning everything's gonna get better.
Right.
Oh fuck.
Cool.
Joe, what are you freaking thinking about?
What am I freaking thinking about?
Yeah.
I am excited that the Clone Wars is back on Disney Plus. I really like the Star Wars Clone Wars series. I didn't watch it when it was on TV. I watched it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. I'm bummed that it's going to be another weekly show.
Yeah.
It's nice to have something to do every week.
Still animated though, right?
It's still animated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disney Plus releases shows a week. It's not a whole thing at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish they just dropped it all at once. I'd be done with it right now.
I would have finished The Mandalorian in a day.
Yeah, right? See, I like The Mandalorian weekly for whatever reason. I don't really know why, but The Clone Wars, I think it's because I binged all 6 seasons that already existed. I just wanted to binge season 7 and be done with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta watch it weekly like a normie.
Like a peasant.
Yeah. You know, I'm not even paying for my
Netflix
Disney.
ruined
I'm using
you.
somebody else's. So
Netflix ruined you, man.
It really did. It really did. But I'm excited it's back. It did feel exactly like nothing's changed.
You know what Netflix ruining you feels like to me? when I grew up, I used to eat Jack's and Teresa's pizza.
Yes.
And once in a while, I'll go to Derek's house that has a DiGiorno or a Red Baron.
Yes.
And then you go back home and eat another Jack's fucking pizza.
You
Must be
bougie
fucking
bastard.
nice.
Right?
You bougie
Right?
bastard.
As I'm stuck with my Disney Plus, he's over there Netflixing it. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
when
what-
I was little, we'd be lucky to be able to tape a show on
Right.
VCR.
Right?
Right.
Like, I didn't know what Coca-Cola was. You know, I just
Right.
thought like RC was it.
Yeah, RC.
Then I
yeah.
go over
Fucking
to Derek's house. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Rising crust?
Fanta Cola.
Right?
You know.
Like pizza has crust? Oh fuck.
What's Sprite? This is Diet
Right?
Lemon Lime.
Is this Tab? What is Tab? This is disgusting.
Oh boy. What about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
I'm excited that Freakin Studio is going to release their first video. I'm excited that
Yeah.
we're going to record it today. I'm excited to figure out how the editing is going to look. And I'm excited to get it actually released onto our new YouTube.
Nice.
I haven't created it yet, but I'm going to. And we've got to get subscribers onto that.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see how we do with the hot sauces and how we're going to make this work and everything. Because this is still a new concept to us and how we're going to make it work. But I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for Freakin Studios to take that one step. Even though we're only 75% of Freakin Studios today.
Yeah, I know.
But
Oh, is that official? That's nothing is changing. Not Dizzle's not en route.
not today. No, he can't make it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll be back soon, which is going to be fun today because Daily's going to come out. And she just started the JFW show with us last week.
Oh,
And
nice.
now she's going to be one of two on the show only. So she's a little bit nervous about that. But you know, I think she'll do okay with that. But Sarge, since now you're sitting here with us, do you have anything you're freaking thinking about you want to share with the fans or no? I know you had nothing planned, but I mean,
I had nothing planned. I'm not going to go into like any politics or anything, but
I like how you emphasize the word politics.
you guys should be terrified of Bernie Sanders. That's what I'm thinking about. Terrified.
No.
Absolutely 100% terrified.
Psh.
Admitted socialist. Might as well say communist.
No.
What's mine is
Completely fucking different.
What's-
Don't even fucking start with me.
What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine, and everybody gets a fair piece of the pie. He's all about the working class. Here you go, Bernie. I got a question for you. If you're all about the working class, how about people that work over 40 hours a week get to keep their they don't get it taxed? All the overtime isn't taxed. Let's see him bite on that. I bet he won't.
I'm more terrified about having a president with the last name Booty Gig.
He's not gonna go anywhere. He's not gonna go anywhere.
He's not going to
No,
go
it's
anywhere.
gonna
I'm
be-
going to agree with you
He's done
there.
the war order. Biden's gonna be gone after
Who
this
are the
week.
top three? Is Biden, Sanders, and what's the fourth?
No, I'd say it's
Biden's gone.
Biden's gone.
Biden is
I'd say
gone.
at this point it's Sanders, Bloomberg, and Warren.
Warren. That's what I keep thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I keep forgetting about. The Native American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. She is a snake.
You see how much she deep throat that beer on that fucking Facebook Live?
No, I
She's
didn't.
so fake.
She's like, I'm gonna have a whole. She's like,
You want a beer? And then she drinks it in front of
Oh,
the
yeah.
people.
audio only, but she's like,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She looks like a person that would drink a beer like that.
She's
She's,
shaking the
she's my
grass.
second choice right now, but
hey Joe.
still.
Our listeners catch Cartoon Joe here every week on this freaking show. But if an hour of Cartoon Joe a week just isn't enough, where else can they go?
If you need more Cartoon Joe, you can find me over the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Google Play, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Cool. Sarge, you're here. Why don't you tell people where they can find your podcast?
Anywhere there's a podcast, just type in DAGRAYAREA, thegrayarea.com, streaming everywhere.
Perfect. Guys, make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at This Freaking Show, as well as following us on Instagram and Facebook at FreakNet Studios, the collaboration between Just Freaking Wrestling, Just Freaking Show, and Doug Gray Area. Shout out to Audible.com for being a sponsor. Go to audibletrial.com/FreakNet today. Sign up for your 30-day free trial plus your free token. Again, TEPUBLIC.com, TBO.com. Search TFS, pick up all your merchandise like the new Travis t-shirt, the Cartoon Joe shirt, a FreakNet Studio shirt, JFW logos, and This Freaking Show logos are all available there in the same place. That's all I got. As always, I am Travis.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of This Freaking Show. I'm out.